Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blood and Popcorn. It's Friday night. You know what that means, everybody. We're about to talk about some horror movies. We're going to get down. Denise, Glenn, hello.
Oh,
Happy Friday. Oh,
happy
Hello.
Denise in theme, as always, with the delicious looking. Don't eat that. Don't do it. Don't you
um,
do it.
okay.
All right, whatever you want to do. I'm not going to stop. It's Friday night. Welcome to Blood and Popcorn, everybody. I am TJ Rotell. Like I said, as with me, as always, are my horror co-hosts Denise Pantoja and Glenn Akers, and we've got a little something special for you tonight. Something we haven't done before, but we've been very much looking forward to doing. It's so new, the segment doesn't even have a name yet, but I'm very excited to have our very first guest for our creator spotlight. He's a friend of mine for many years. He is, in my opinion, one of the best and brightest upcoming horror directors on the planet. Uh, some of his work includes Axed, Postmortem Mary, and now most recently, as featured on Shudder, on Dead House Dark, My Empire of Dirt. Please put your virtual hands together and welcome to the stage, Joshua Long. Josh, welcome to the show, brother.
Oh,
I put
thanks.
my real hands together. Is that okay?
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. It's a real honor, man.
Yeah,
That's a
dude.
really nice thing that you've said to me. I'll put that on my CV, man. You know,
Yeah, just put it right up there. Like, do you want me to send you like a screenshot of
I
this and
do.
like type it out and
Oh, that made me feel really good. Thanks, man. That's really kind of you. Thank you for having me. And it's lovely to catch up again.
yeah, it's been super fun just getting chatting leading up to going live here and just seeing what's going on. But you've got some cool stuff going on right now, and I want to get to Dead House Dark. But first, I want to let the people at home know exactly who you are, man. Like, tell us a bit about yourself. Where do you come from? How'd you find yourself in the world of directing? And let's just start there.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, I guess I'm from Australia. Hopefully, you can understand me. Yes, it isn't too thick. Um,
Oh, I thought that was Boston. Shit.
Just a thick
Love
Boston
to go
accent.
to Boston. Yeah, love to go. Is it Boston where those people hang out that have the cheese on top of their head? Is that Boston?
I
Sure.
think that's
That's
where is that's
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Oh man, your audience is
We're
you'd be
gonna get the
smart.
letters. All four people
No,
watching at
I
home
know
right
it. I
now
know
are
what
gonna be
you're saying
pissed.
before with cheese on me. No, yeah, I'm I'm an Australian writer director. What else do you want to know? How I got into horror?
Yeah, like
Oh,
where'd you start? Did you go to film school? What'd you do? Like, how'd you
oh,
get
I
into
did.
this?
Yeah, I did. I went to. I'm from Brisbane in Queensland. I ended up going to Griffith Film School, which is sort of one of the premier sort of schools in Australia for filmmaking, and did a master's degree and stuff there. And I guess how I got into it, man, I grew up dyslexic and couldn't read and write. I had to repeat the first grade and was obsessed with death, man. So you got like this 6, 7 year old who's like up constantly asking their parents about like what happens when you die, and they're like, "Oh no, what do we do?"
Dude,
So
and then somewhere across the entire country, there was a young boy in Pennsylvania doing the same exact
uh,
thing.
maybe that's maybe that's how all the horror directors got into it. My
Yeah,
mom was telling me I used to. She had a VHS copy of like Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller, the
yeah,
John Landis.
yeah.
And apparently, I'd make her play it on repeat, and I'm like peeking out. I'm like 4 years old, peeking out the side of the couch, like at these Rick Baker zombies, going, "Oh my god, play it again!" Like, so yeah, and from there, I got really stuck into like Mad Monster Party, the stop motion film from the '60s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ray Harryhausen films, man. I was obsessed with like Seventh Voyage of Sinbad and Jason and the Argonauts, the Tiger. So I was just hunting these down, and as I sort of got older, it just progressed into like splatter film, Evil Dead. I was really into like indie, cult films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Evil Dead,
Mhm.
and then that kind of moved more to Lucio Fulci, Zombie Flesh Eaters, Dario Argento, that kind of stuff. So, but it
Nice.
was, it was basically it stemmed from being dyslexic and obsessed with death. So I didn't know all my storytelling came from watching film. So all of my language within storytelling and whatnot just came from just obsessing over films because I'm a bit of a loner too. So
Mhm.
my parents are antique dealers, so I would go to markets. I'd be like, "Oh, cool! There's a copy of Zytro or Extra or whatever, or there's I still got the VHS behind.
I was going to ask Josh, Did that ever have any influence on you that they were antique dealers? Because obviously people feel like there's a connection with people's, especially antique things with people's previous belongings. Like, did that ever influence you in any way?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, good question. For sure. And if you watch Postmortem Mary, like a lot of the stuff in in the short, because the short set in the 1850s, a lot of it was from my parents' antique shop. And
Oh,
we even shot a missing ghost film. I should finish it, but I was not quite satisfied with it. A little short film called The Finest Collection in the antique shop. You
Yeah,
know,
I was just gonna say. I feel like I remember
oh,
seeing that,
nice.
yeah,
like,
I
or
did a cut
pictures
of
of it
it.
or something. Yeah,
I'll tell you the story, which is hilarious, man.
yeah.
I finished it. I finished it once, right? And a friend of mine, Chris Sun. I don't know if you guys know him, but he made films called Boar, Charlie's Farm. Boar was probably the biggest one that is sort of got released with Universal. A giant pig film from a couple of years ago. He
Yeah,
had
I
this
feel
film.
like I've heard of that.
Yeah,
He had
that
this
seems.
film called Charlie's Farm, and it had like Tara Reid and Bill Moseley in it. He's like, he'd seen that I was making this short, and he was like, "Do you want to screen it before it at the premiere?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be great! This is gonna be Tara Reid's gonna be there, and so is Bill Moseley, because I love Bill Moseley, man,
Oh
and
yeah.
I was so
Oh,
keen. Like I know Tara Reid, like hit and miss, but I love the Big Lebowski. I was so keen to meet her and have a chatter about it, And American Pie came out when I was like in grade 11, or so. I was the perfect age to watch that. So, but anyway, we busted my guts to get this film done. I was cutting it. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had to color grade. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And so Chris, it wasn't his fault, but he kind of stitched me up. He introduced the film Charlie's Farm, but forgot to tell anybody that my short was going to play before it. And then the
Wow.
short played, and then at the end of it, the music just cut off at the credits, and I'd stuffed up
Oh, it's okay. You could say fuck
you
here.
can
It's allowed.
curse.
I
Yeah,
stuffed
that's
up
fine.
I stuffed up the music on the credits, and then Tara Reid yells out, "I don't know what that shit was, but the real film's about to start." And I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like sitting there next to my mum. My mum was watching me going, "Oh," seeing I was like nearly having a nervous breakdown, trying to figure out how the hell am I going to edit this film? How the hell am I going to do this color grade? How the hell am I going to export it? To get to play that day. And then that happened, and my mum just turns to me, can I maybe you can beat this part out, but I love my mum, and she turns to me and goes like, "What a fucking bitch."
That's amazing.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's
that's
funny.
what happened. That's what happened with that film. It was set in the antique. So yeah, to answer the question, man. Yeah, antiques, love it. I love that kind of stuff. All my films have. Like the
Oh,
latest one is Dead House Dark. It's probably its reference film would be like Lucio Fulci's The Beyond. Like I wanted to have a like grit and look, and that setting of like maybe 1980, 81.
mhm.
That color palette. So yeah, it really does.
I
Really.
I am obsessed with antiques and things like that. I think I've commented on some of your stuff on Instagram, like, ooh, that poster, that
Which
vintage anatomy poster that your parents got you,
God, yeah. Yeah, that's from like
is
1989.
still my beating
Hot.
heart. Holy cow.
Yeah, they're like, "Do you want it?" And I'm like, Andrew, oh my god,
Yes, please.
yeah,
Oh,
skeletons.
great. You put it in there, TJ. I was going to ask what the best place to watch Postmortem Mary was. If
Yeah, I put a
you,
whole massive link in there because I copied it from the Facebook message.
you're hilarious. It is phenomenal. Everybody
Oh,
must
it's
check it out.
so
It's,
good.
what is it, like 9 minutes long-ish, Josh?
Yeah, we had a deal with Screenfest that had to be under 10, so it's about 10
Oh,
minutes. And you see the credits, it just goes.
Super fast.
If you got it
It's
naturally, probably would have been 11 minutes, but maybe it
Yeah.
made it better. Yeah.
so good. Like,
It's beautiful.
so TJ and Josh met via Facebook. Was it via Facebook?
As
Yeah,
far
think
as I remember it,
Zombie Press.
I just launched the Facebook page for Chronicles of the Living Dead, and we'd shot like this really bad like teaser trailer, and for some reason I get this
I mean, it's great.
like Axed movie has liked your page. And I'm like, oh, what's this? So I look and I see this, it's a zombie movie. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I get a message like, hey man, cool trailer. Like, looks cool. I make zombie movies. And we started talking and we just found that we had so much in common with our love of movies, love of zombies. And then I got to see, and actually Josh sent over the link to this, and it's not going to be a massive Facebook link, but I'm going to put the link to Axed in, because I watched this movie and I remember just thinking to myself, and listen, man, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. You know how much I love your work. But I just remember thinking to myself, holy shit. I had this moment and I went, this guy's going to be like the next Peter Jackson, was my gut reaction to your movie Axed. And then I started to see some of your other stuff and I was like, oh, like, and then like into Frighteners and Lord of the Rings too, Peter Jackson, like not just bad taste, but like this guy could do so much more than just a splatter zombie movie. And that's why I've always been so impressed with how versatile you are as a storyteller, because like your eye through a lens is so clean. And then just what you were able to pull off in Axed, man, I think I'm a big fan. How did Axed come to be, now that we've got it in chat? And it's how we met.
It's so funny. Like it's so long ago that I made it. And like, warning for your audience, mate, it might make you feel a bit crook. You know, at the time, I think 28 Days Later was a big thing, and that high shutter speed. And this is that beautiful underrated period that I know will come back in about 10 years' time. That's underappreciated at the moment, where indie horror films were shooting on mini DV and HDV. So it was pre DSLR revolution, pre Black Magic. Now you can shoot on stuff that looks looks amazing.
Say okay, you could say fuck.
Say it.
You couldn't do that back then.
You can fucking swear if you want.
You shoot on digital. You could shoot on digital Betacam, or you shoot on 16 mil. But mini DV sort of opened up another door, and then HDV as well. So I was shooting on that, and so I was always obsessed with. I'd basically come out of film school and had no work and couldn't get a job in the industry. The industry was pretty small here in Queensland at the time, or Brisbane. And I obsessed with The Evil Dead, right? And I was obsessed also with the film that they made before Evil Dead, Within the Woods. So I was trying to do, which is basically, if you haven't seen, a 45-minute version of Evil Dead. And there was other films I kind of did it, like there was a 45-minute or an hour version of Versus, the Japanese zombie film called oh god, I can't even remember the name of it, but you know, a lot of the films had done it, and I was like, okay, well, I want to make something that's about half an hour to prove that I was capable of doing a feature, and then we'll make the proper one when we get the money. But what we'd done was we'd shot about half of it, and then created a trailer, and I realized that I hadn't shot a proper story. I just basically shot a scene, which kind of works if you're like making Saw or something, you know, like they executed it really, really well, but mine was like super low budget and shot on HDV, sorry. And so we just had to go back and keep shooting more, you know. So it was just God, it was the best film school ever to make. But we're, like, you look at it, we didn't even have a monitor, you know. Like, so I'm looking at this like viewfinder, like that big. So the shaky on the little viewfinder looks awesome. And then I'm sitting on the big screen nearly having a chuck, you know. And we didn't know what we were doing, and half of it was shot interlaced, and I had to like bring it back to progressive. I had to like teach myself to edit as well and stuff, and I shot like maybe a third of it myself. All these pickups, because it just become this. Then it took me 5 years to finish because I just had no money. I wasn't in the film industry. And sort of finishing off that film prompted me to go back to do the masters and sort of take it a bit more seriously. And that's when sort of like Postmortem Mary, the more sort of, because when I came back to the masters, like, holy shit, we can use ARRI Alexas. You know, like, oh my God, this is what the students are using. And students don't know, you know, how good they're good at it right now, you know. Like, so I just went from shooting on this $10,000 HDV camera, Sony, what was it called? A P1 or something? Or, can't remember, but I'd love to get that camera. I'll probably get it for about $200 now.
Oh, I still have my HVX, my Panasonic HVX. That was my first like big boy camera.
Man, we with Axe, come to think about it, we even shot on like the shaky cam, you know, like, so we had a plank of wood with the hole in the middle, like what they did with Evil Dead, and as a fake steady cam, and ran through the forest like that. And like the lead character's named Bruce, you know, so it was supposed to be like an Evil Dead meets George Romero's Dawn of the Dead kind of film, but shot in a way like 28 Days Later, which was kind of like the flavor of the month, you know. So, God, I need to go back and watch that. But
dude, I love it. I want to make the feature version of that with you someday.
I wrote it, and then I spent another few years writing it, and nearly got it up. And and it kind of fell away. But I should get back to it. But zombies are just sort of zombies just hit this massive bubble, and then I guess it's burst now. It's probably heading more towards werewolves, I'd imagine, at the moment.
I mean, yeah, there's probably something hotter coming down the line.
What's the new one? Fight of the Dead, Heist of the Dead. What's the one with Dave Bautista in it? Just came out. It's coming out on Netflix.
Army
of the Dead. Yeah, like I feel like we're gonna see that's gonna be another small bubble's gonna go. With that one, I think the studios will get like a couple. We'll get like the new Resident Evil. I think we're getting a new Resident Evil, aren't we?
Yeah. Yes.
Like I feel like we're stepping away from like traditional zombies and going into like mutant zombies. Maybe that's the micro bubble we'll be in.
Love to make with that. Romero's. That would have been good.
I don't know if they went through it. Go ahead.
Sorry. How George Romero was all set to make the first Resident Evil film.
Yeah. I did not know that.
Not getting that.
Nobody didn't?
Script that exists.
No, I didn't know that.
That's they wisely got rid of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard they were trying to make a show last year. I don't know if it went through. I don't know if it got greenlit, but
I could swear they're doing another Resident Evil, and it's like
they are doing another Resident Evil. They finished it, but I also had heard about a TV show last year that some of my friends were reading for. I don't know if it got greenlit, but I think that even though it might not be like on top, because there is always a sort of a cycle that we go through in horror, I feel like it's one of the everlasting types of horror movies. But I want to actually take a minute to talk about Postmortem Mary. So TJ told me, he's like, hey, my friend, you remember I told you about Joshua? He reached out about Chronicles of the Living Dead. He's going to be in LA, and he's going to be showing his short at Screamfest. Like, that's cool. Like, we usually don't go to film fest or anything like film festivals or anything like that. So that sounds like a fun time. And, I'm speaking the things that we all think but don't say. Usually when you go to a friend's thing, you're like, oh, we're here to support. I don't know how good it's going to be, right? So you're like, how am I going to support if it's not, necessarily the best thing? And I was floored, dude. I mean, I was like, shit, is this good? My God, it's good. Like, wow. Please, check the link out. It's so good. And it's so well acted. It's so beautifully dressed, people and set. And it's so well written, and it's so simple, but it's so powerful. I don't think we ever properly got to tell you enough, or maybe we did, but it's so fabulous.
It's rad as fuck.
That's very kind of you.
So good.
You might have said, but when your stuff plays, especially at the Chinese theater, it's just a blur.
Yeah.
It's really hard to remember the details even the night, because you dream about the stuff. Like, you guys are used to it a bit because, living over there, in Australia, I experienced a little bit. I went to Cannes Film Festival one time as a student, and you're walking around and you see movie stars or whatever, or big time producers or directors or whatever. But you guys are used to that kind of stuff in LA. You could go to Shriek Fest or Scream Fest or, whatever festival that's over there. Is Beyond Fest in LA? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it seemed like there's a screening, like when we were over there, I think they were doing a screening of, I think Edgar Wright was doing a screening of something, and doing a Q&A in person. Like, you just don't get that stuff in Australia and in Brisbane. So I was just like a kid in a candy store. So it's, and like going to the Hollywood Museum and just seeing like the ruby slippers from Wizard of Oz, just sitting there.
Right.
Like, where the hell am I? This is like heaven. So, it was a bit of a blur, that trip. But that screening, I knew. Did I tell you? I should tell you a story with
Please
when
do.
we were in post. Yeah, we were in post for it. What happened was we kind of went a little bit over budget. So it was the short. It cost about $60,000. So that's a pretty big budget short, but it was funded by Screen Queensland over here, which most of the films are funded by a state or national. So there's each state, like the Screen Queensland, Screen New South Wales, have different funding bodies in there, Screen Australia. So we were lucky enough to get funding. That we'd gone a little bit over, and I was freaking out because we basically didn't get to shoot the ending that was written. So we had to change it on the spot because when we were shooting, it was tough, man, because we had like little kids, and you can't shoot for too long with them, otherwise you get in a lot of trouble. Obviously, those who are producers and ADs that know that.
We're all nodding. Yep.
18 to play younger. That's the name of the game.
So we had like this little the little girl that plays the dead body. She's a contortionist, but she was only like 7 or something, So and then she had to have like an hour and a half of makeup or whatever,
Oh wow!
And you only can shoot with her for 5 hours, So
right,
it made it really really difficult. So we just had to shoot. Like I couldn't even be basically near a monitor. I had like a little handheld. I was like over the shoulder of Ben Knott, who was the incredible DOP. I'm very lucky to have him. He was like probably the premier DOP in Australia. He'd shot Jigsaw and Winchester, just a big time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
so we watched Winchester not too long ago. That's a beautiful movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just done that, and I agree. I'd like to see the photography on it is just extremely underrated. This guy's a genius, and we're really lucky to have him. But it was weird for him because we're going back to sort of an alternate method because you're trying to run the set and stuff and shooting it basically auteur to try and get this done. So basically, a long-winded story. But when we'd cut it, I was freaking out because I thought I'd buggered it up, So and we had to drive. Screen Queensland had organised for us to show the I think I mentioned this in the chat previously, but showed the editor of Aquaman, who had also cut The Conjuring and Insidious. So he was at the Gold Coast, which is about an hour's drive south of where we are, editing Aquaman because that was getting shot at the same time.
Oh wow!
So we had to drive down there to show this guy. So we and I'm apologizing to the producer Dan Schultz, amazing producer who works on a show called Bluey.
We met Dan.
Bluey is a big sort of children's show here. I think you can get it over in America now, and maybe Disney Plus or something.
Oh wow!
Anyway, huge hit here. But prior to that, he was working on this, and I was just apologizing to him. I was so sorry, Like I was like, I'll just save up. Maybe we can shoot for an extra day. Try and fix this up. I'm really sorry. And anyway, so we get on a lot, thousands of crew members everywhere, big Hollywood film, and we go into this little room, and the editor Kirk, I can't remember his last name, but he was sort of like a real sort of silent, real tall guy. Just sat at this tiny little table, and we had this little laptop, and he just sat there and pressed play. I just watched it in silence, like staring at it like that, and we're just standing in the background going, oh, this is going to be terrible. But basically at the end of it, he pressed pause and then just looked at us and went, oh, that's one of the best shots I've ever seen. And we just it was one of the moments and that was when it was in rough cut, and that was one of the sort of greatest film moments, where, you get those little sort of, filmmaking is all about rejection, man. It sucks.
Yeah.
You get rejected from every bloody film festival. Every film you try to get up gets rejected. But that was one of those moments where you're like, this would give me the energy to make something new, to finish yourself, to make another thing. And you kind of need those little moments to keep going. And that was really, 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 really lovely. God, I'd love to work with that guy. Oh my God. But yeah, crazy. But yeah, thanks,
man.
Yeah, Postmortem Mary did really well, man. I still get asked to be in film festivals now. I'd like to see it get more views on Shudder because it's only about 500,000. Oh, sorry, on Alta it's on. But it's getting reviewed really well, and people are really loving it. Getting comments.
It should.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really great, and that's an awesome story to go out on, Josh. Before we go, tell the folks at home. I just put it in chat, your Twitter and your Instagram. Also in chat, we've got the links to. I'm going to throw the links to Axed and Postmortem Mary, and then tell us where to see Dead House Dark as well. And then tell us anything you want. Like give us a little outro here, man. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
A little bit about Dead House Dark. Yeah.
Little taste of Dead House Dark for sure.
Yeah, because we haven't even talked about it. We were just.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's like let's talk about Dead House Dark because that's
this
why
is the
newest.
This is the newest piece from Josh.
Yes, Josh. Tell us about Dead House Dark. It's on Shudder now.
Yeah.
How'd that come to be?
Well, getting on Shudder is pretty incredible because you get to go to your target audience.
Yeah.
some of the Shutter, the comments and stuff on Shutter, like, oh man, you just stemmed into your audience, you know, like, and you just, which is incredible and scary as well. But
Yeah.
to get on Shutter, dream come true, man. And how I got involved in it was, I guess through Postmortem Mary, because Postmortem Mary had won this festival called Sitges, which is in Spain, you know, a massive.
Shit, okay.
Yeah, one best short film at Sitges, and in 2018, which made it Academy qualifier, which was pretty cool. You know, that's yeah, right. But spoiler alert, didn't win. You know. But yeah, so that was a big thing for me, and yeah, I just got contacted by a producer in Sydney named Enzo Tedeschi, who had sort of claim to fame, I guess, is this film called The Tunnel, which is a pretty cool Australian found footage film going through all these underground tunnels. It's kind of like Chud, you know, like a version of Chud, a bit scarier, you know. So all these other sort of underground subway system, abandoned sort of mine shafts that were left there in World War II, whatever, in Sydney. So yeah, it's worth a look. So he hit me up and just said, look, I'm thinking about doing this anthology or, you know, a series that was kind of pitched as a web series as Black Mirror, you know, for horror, the horror shorts. And, you know, they got the funding up through Screen Australia. So for me, it was like a no-brainer, because then I could go from Screen Queensland, who are incredible and really nourishing of my career. But then the next step up is to go to Screen Australia. So I really wanted to have that stepping stone in my career, because then it might help me get Postmortem Mary feature film made or whatever. You know? So I ended up writing a film for that, and it was wonderful. First film I ever made on a set. The creature effects are just really gnarly and kind of like that sort of schlocky 80s. So it's got this really easy, particular episode. But all six episodes, and all of them are very different. There's a found footage film, a dash film that was made through the eyes of a dash cam. There's a really lovely film about God, what was that? Did you ever hear? I think it was called like The Whale something, where basically people were grooming people to harm themselves. It was really horrible, but this one is it's in a really interesting film called No Pain, No Gain. That sort of is about mental health and a really important message. And so it was really, really great. And so I was expecting it to be a web series that was going to come out on YouTube, and then it screened at Cannes Series. Holy Shorts it played out in LA, which was great.
Oh, nice.
A couple of times I've played there now, and it just got picked up by Shudder, you know, and pushed out as more of an anthology rather than just a web series. So it's getting a little bit of heat from there not being sort of a link, but it wasn't really designed that way in the first place. So maybe it's been a little bit misrepresented with its push out in that regard. But some of the comments have been so amazing. Some of you get mixed reviews with an anthology, but every so often you get one and it makes you feel really good. So it's funny, you know, Postmortem Mary is probably the one that's been the most successful in a film festival kind of way, but having that direct contact with the core audience from Shudder is just mind blowing. And it might help us make another film, you know, just sitting here waiting to do it. So please go and watch it and give it five skulls, even if you hate it, just because it makes you feel good, you know, and say something else about my episode. It'd be nice. Because I'll be reading it.
Just staring at the keys. So tell us about your specific film in the anthology.
Mine's
Empire of Dirt, right?
My Empire of Dirt. It's the last episode. It's about a dying hoarder who is being cared for by a death doula. So death doula is like just an ancient practice that's getting a real sort of comeback. And I was even tempted to like maybe go and study to be a death doula after this. It's basically somebody that helps you die, you know, helps you, not pushes you over the edge, but just helps you mentally cope with it and helps you prepare. Another term for it is a death midwife, but they've kind of stepped away from that. And I saw one of the the outlines of my episode called it a death midwife, and then one of the comments was like, "It's not called death midwife anymore," and I'm like, oh, "No, I know, I'm sorry." You know,
that's your fault. You did that specifically.
Yeah, but the film itself has this really uneasy flow, because you've got this really, it's from the hoarder's point of view. So she's just watching this death doula like clean up her whole house and throw out all of her life the whole way, and she's kind of hiding a monster in the sort of closet a little bit. But the death doula is like really happy and loves death and like wants to spark her up the whole time. So it was a really sort of crazy film and interesting to make, because really difficult to direct, because you've got two performances that are so polar opposite that it can be easy to muck up. And hopefully we didn't adore the performances in it. It's got Annie Finsteer and Acacia just did a bang up job, and it's really icky film, man. It's disgusting. It's the most disgusting film I've ever made.
Perfect.
But I was getting notes back going, "You can't show that. You can't show that. You're not a female director." So there's a shot in it, and I'll just say that, and you guys can check it out. But I got a lot of thanks for putting that shot in it by a female director. So it's a. I hope you'll enjoy it. It's got some really great creature effects in it that are really schlocky as well. Really,
I do love creature effects.
Absolutely.
So the best way to support your work is to watch it on Shudder.
Yeah.
Give it high ratings. Comments. Does that help as well?
Well, yeah. I mean, if it does really well, Shudder might want to make it into something longer, which would be a dream come true. And just check out Postmortem Mary. That would be really, really lovely. Like Axed and the other links that I sent through are really kind of really rough and raw. So I love that stuff as well. But probably Postmortem Mary and Empire or From Deadhouse Dark are the more sort of where I'm at the moment.
Great.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop the link for Postmortem Mary back in here for anybody who didn't get it last time.
And is it just views on Postmortem Mary? Comments are helpful too. I mean, because obviously, if people see the desire and demand for a full-length feature, that's good too, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've had interest in the feature, and I've been trying to write it for maybe a couple of years now. So that's like after I get off this call, I'll go and get back to writing it on my Saturday. So that's where I'm trying to head at the moment. But stepping into feature world is exactly where I want to be. So
you and me both, man. We'll get there. We're gonna get there.
Bring me some money to make it.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna do that. We're gonna make this happen. Josh, dude, thank you so much for taking the morning to come and talk to us, from the future, literally from the future, where the sun is shining and the grass is green. And man, thanks. It's been a pleasure catching up, and a pleasure having you on. And I'll talk to you later, man. Best of luck, guys. Everyone, please go support Josh. His info's in chat. There's links in chat. Please go watch Deadhouse Dark. Watch the whole series, but watch My Empire of Dirt. Last episode. Josh Long, thank you so much for being here, man. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, brother.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Later. Good luck with the show. Nice to meet you, Glenn.
Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Man, I love that dude. Josh, I'll talk to you later, dude. Bye.
Yeah, he's great.
Oh, that's shifted things about. I have to.
Adjust.
I have to make an adjustment.
Oh no, what happened? Where'd Glenn go?
Glenn has disappeared. Glenn has been disappeared.
And no one cared.
As he is wont to do.
Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum. And there you are.
Oh, you found me.
I found you, Glenn. I found you. All is right with the world again, my friend. All is right with the world. Just gonna make you a little bigger.
Speaking of anthologies.
Yeah, and that's why and it all ties together. Now you guys get it. Because tonight, after that amazing session, I'm so happy we did that, by the way.
Yes.
What a fantastic guy Josh is, and all around super talented guy. Please go support
so
his
talented.
work. He's a great human and a great director and writer, and he deserves all the good things. But we're here tonight now that that's done. We're gonna turn down the lights low. We're gonna spark up our jack-o'-lanterns because it's time to talk about Trick or Treat. Denise, this was your pick this week, and we're all a fan of this movie. There's no getting around that. But tell us why you chose Trick or Treat here, which I think right away speaks volumes, as we are not currently in the Halloween season, and this is a Halloween-themed film.
We are not, but I ache for the Halloween season all year round.
Real talk.
We missed Halloween. They were doing some really awesome shit over at Reign of Terror in LA, one of our favorite haunted houses. They were doing a Halloween thing, and I was like, oh, it's so good. So, even though it's technically a little over Halloween, it's more like, like 1/6 a ween, 5/6, 3/6, 4/6. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know.
Listen, we work with budgets, not numbers. Come on. That's
right. Come on now.
Right? Anywho, I thought it would be great to jump into, it's been a busy few weeks. Yeah. It's a fabulous, shorter, digestible piece.
Yeah.
And one of, we didn't really talk about this much with Josh because we wanted to really get into his personal experiences, but anthologies are really hard to do. You would think, and I don't know why you would think this, but like that might be easier to do because you have like shorter content to put in one movie. But maybe that's why, because you have several shorter pieces to put together. And like he said, he got some flack from viewers for not having a through line, but there was no through line in Creepshow, was there? There wasn't.
Oh yeah, well,
really.
There's a huge through line in Creepshow.
Which will, I mean,
it's a comic book in the first one.
Well, it's a comic book, but I mean, it's not like this one. It's not like Trick or Treat where you literally have the paths crossing, right?
No. There's a through line in that there's a storyteller, there's a narrator for the world, in a way that is the comic book and the creep that make that go.
So that for me is less. So maybe I'm using the wrong terminology. I guess it's a through line because I see a through line more as more interconnection between the stories. But maybe I'm just thinking of the wrong thing. There doesn't always have to be a direct connection is what I'm trying to say very poorly. But
you're doing great because I agree. I actually do agree. I mean, it's a collection of stories, right? Like
it is.
I don't know, Glenn. Do you know officially? Do anthologies need to have a through line? I'm going to look this up while Glenn tells us what he's about to say.
I don't think so. I was going to say that I don't know of any other movie the anthology movie that has your main vignettes connect with each other outside of whatever the storyteller element is. Like in Creepshow, it's a comic book, but they don't really interact outside of it's a comic book. But in this one, the stories are taking place sometimes at the same time, and you can hear bleed over from one to the other.
Yeah.
Which is pretty original. I can't say it's the only movie that did it, but
it did it well.
It doesn't really do that normally. It doesn't do it in Creepshow. It doesn't do it in Tales from the Crypt, the movie from the 70s. And I'm blanking on other anthology movies for some weird ass reason.
I've got one that does do it very well, and it's
really?
An old black and white called Dr. Terror's House of Horrors.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Dead of Night. I was like, what?
Oh yeah, no. Dr. Terror's House of Horrors is like a dude on a train with a couple of dudes, and they're the guys. He's telling their stories, basically how they died, and then you find out that they're all in hell or some shit. But it was great. For a black and white movie, I was like, oh man, it's really cool. Subscription. But I love anthologies. I'm a huge fan. Oh, thanks, Epic. Oh, and Epic, dude, thank you for the gift
yes,
subs
thank
earlier,
you,
man. That was really nice. I didn't want to break Josh's run on that, but Yeah, thank you for those, and I hope you're feeling better. Yeah, I don't know why the alert box audio hasn't been playing. I don't know what's going on there.
Oh,
But
shnikey.
I'll throw one out there for you, Tony Night. Subscription!
There we go.
Now it's Friday
That's what
night.
we've been missing.
But Denise, you ultimately chose Trick or Treat, which is quite the treat.
It is quite the treat. No tricks here.
This movie is traditionally a Halloween staple. Like this is this makes it to the list every year, every time, without fail. We watch Trick or Treat.
Oh yeah.
And I'm so happy you picked it.
Oh, Estonian can hear it. That's good.
Oh, great that you can hear that. Okay, good. Yeah, then we can't hear it. Then that's super duper. I'm gonna open up the ratings because I actually didn't do my ratings while we were watching the movie.
You know, I don't do mine until we talk about them.
I did. I'm doing them this time the same way because I felt like
why not?
I just love the movie so much and I've seen it so much that I was like, I think I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the sign of a good movie, like especially when you're doing something like this and you're trying to be critical, but the movie has so few flaws that you can literally just sit back as someone who's going to review it and watch it. It's a great movie.
That is another reason that I do it the way I do it.
Yeah. Denise, tell us a bit about the story of Trick or Treat, because it's got a pretty rich history from being shelved for several years and finding its way to the masses eventually via Legendary Entertainment. Yeah, like give us the story of old Trick or Treat.
So it is, what is it? How many stories? We have 5 interwoven stories that occur on Halloween night. And as you continue to watch them, you discover that we start at the ending. We start at the end of the night. And then we go through each of the stories. And then we see little, and obviously I've seen it a dozen times. So I know, who's from the other stories, which is why I'm going to skip ahead to the whole enjoyability thing. This is definitely worth a rewatch, like for sure.
Yeah.
Because then you get to pick up on those things. That's always fun when maybe you didn't notice at first, and then you get to pick up on the ways in which this weaves into the other stories. And I like that right there. That is like, I'm like a kid in a candy store with that shit. Like I love that. And I love it when it's done well. Like,
yeah,
I am such a huge fan of that style of storytelling. It really tickles me. But '07 is what is on IMDb, but is that when it came out?
I believe so.
I guess yes, but it was shelved. It didn't come out until after Anna Paquin got super, super popular because of True Blood. And that might have helped.
Crazy because she was Rogue.
She was Rogue.
She was one of the most popular X-Men characters of all time for 3 movies.
Right.
And True Blood's what popped her off, which is bananas.
It was the first of its kind, and then she also did get naked. So that might have
did she get naked in that show? I don't remember.
In True Blood? Hell yeah, she did.
I know everyone else did just about, but
yeah.
I always use this line from True Blood, "Where's Run Hot?" Because I'm very hot blooded. I'm a spicy meatball.
Spicy meatball.
Where's Run Hot? Yeah. So this movie has obviously a bonkers cast.
It is really fabulous.
Call out some of the folks that we might enjoy watching in this film, D.
Oh, Brian Cox, who was also in an X-Men movie. Boom.
Yes, he was. X-Men.
Striker. Sorry, I got excited about that because I just realized it. And then we've got, let me go back. So we got Anna Paquin. We've got Brian Cox. We've got, I love Jean-Luc Bilodeau. If you ever saw, it was like an ABC, I can't remember what it was called. I think it's Freeform now. It was like ABC Family before that or something like that. There's a show called Baby Daddy, which I absolutely adored. And Jean-Luc Bilodeau is from that. It's where he has like a one night stand with a girl, and a baby shows up on his doorstep.
Like
It's like
you do.
3 Men and a Baby kind of thing. Leslie Bibb is in it. And she, who the guy who plays her husband is Tomo Penniket, who you've seen in a whole bunch of stuff. He's really great too. Battlestar Galactica, Man of Steel. He was, I think he was in a short from a friend of ours. I can't remember. That's neither here nor there. But everybody's like so young in this because it was shelved for quite a while. I'm trying to find that story and I haven't run into it yet. So give me a second on that one. But
all good. Let's talk to Glenn for a bit while you look at that. Glenn,
let's do that.
This movie has some top-notch camera work, and there's a couple of nods that we see throughout the film. What do you think? Like, what were some of your? I mean, we'll go into this more when we break it down. But like off the top of your head, do you have like a favorite shot or a couple of shots? Something you saw that looked real clean.
I mean, at the very beginning, it's clearly Halloween homage, which, as we have established, I hate Carpenter, so I don't know why I'm pointing that out.
You're a monster.
I would say my favorite shots, though, are... I wouldn't say it's a throwaway shot, because it's not. It's in the quarry, the kids segment. Like, they get off the bus, and then, like, they just show this background of, like, haystacks or something, and, like, a scarecrow, I think. And, like, when I think of fall or Halloween, really, like, it's like that. Like, they plucked that from my mind and was like, we filmed it. And I know that, like, has nothing to do with the story at all. It truly, to me, looks like a Norman Rockwell, like, this is Halloween. Anyways, it also kind of looks like, oh no, what's that show? Anyways, I'll come back to it.
Yeah, we'll cover it when we get to the popcorn.
Over the Garden Wall.
There it is.
The animated show. Anyways, and then I think my other favorite shot, or two shots technically, would be again in the quarry scene when, like, you see the bus go over the cliff. Spoiler alert. And then it dollies in and then looks down as it's sinking in. And I don't think they cut. Like, if they did, they put an amazing cut in there.
I was looking at that very specifically too.
Like, I look at it every time because I'm like, I don't know how they did this. Because like there isn't CGI.
There were people on the bus.
That was a real bus, or a real, like, last two windows of a bus that they were sinking in that water. And like to time it and like tilt your camera, it's like insane.
Yeah.
And then again in the quarry at night when it's just like the bus like sticking out of the water, which we'll not go into continuity about that.
Well, the water levels have lowered. Hello.
Yeah,
30
years of evaporation. That's true, because quarries aren't fed by streams. Yes.
Maybe the stream dried up, Glenn.
Yeah, from all the blood of those children.
It's very possible. I mean, they have to drink, so maybe they're just drinking the quarry water.
Just a bunch of thirsty kids underwater making it work.
So thirsty.
Thirsty kids. When it's night and like foggy, and it's just like, it looks like Silent Hill.
Well, and that's the thing that I don't really understand about this movie is that scene is because, like, we've all worked with fog or haze or smoke to some degree before. That's outside, man. Like, how much were they pumping in?
A lot.
Right? Like unless they shot those scenes on a stage, but like...
Could it have been real? Could it have been real fog?
It was...
Maybe?
It was too...
It was too opaque, right? Like, you couldn't...
It was too opaque. It was too perfect. It was consistent between shots, which, like, that wouldn't fucking happen in real... I mean, maybe.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder how much fog they used in that scene, because it's a lot.
My only thing is, like, I think they shot in a real quarry. Like,
that tracks.
They might have used outside foggers, which I've used or worked with before, which are crazy. They're basically just giant wind machines that blow smoke everywhere.
Smoke and fog.
Loud and hot and crazy machines.
Oh yeah, the temperature of those things is do not touch. Do not
No.
touch.
Oh
You
yeah.
lose some skin. It's gonna come
Yeah,
off.
like I'm surprised you can use them in California. If you're in a quarry, maybe it just sits in there with you.
Yeah,
That's
that's.
true
I mean,
because
yeah, especially
if
on a
it's a real
non-windy
quarry, they go
day.
down.
It's just a
Yeah.
big hole.
Mhm.
Yeah, if it's not a windy day, whipping around down there, like yeah, I could see.
But
that
I
just going
agree.
that hole.
Like some of it, did they build that?
I don't know. I really
I
don't
don't know.
know.
I will never
I would
know.
love to. I would love to find out though someday.
I don't.
Yeah, I would too.
The Wikipedia, the
Uh huh.
official,
The source of all knowledge on
the
the
source
internet.
of all knowledge
Wikipedia.
anymore, because encyclopedias can't be changed every 5 seconds. It says the release date was 2007 at Butnamathon.
Yeah, that.
They,
I wonder if that's
um,
still a thing.
I don't know.
I don't.
But
Probably not. I think Harry Knowles got in trouble for some stuff.
Oh,
if I
did he
remember
really?
Correctly.
Oh,
I don't know,
no.
but I could also be making this up. Like
Harry,
I have a terrible memory.
and then it was released in 2009. Remember, it was direct to DVD, and that's how we ran into it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, maybe it wasn't as many years as it seemed, but and it doesn't say why. It doesn't exactly say why, but I mean, I imagine maybe there were just issues over at Legendary, because in as early as 2009, the director said that he was planning a sequel, and then
Yep.
even in 2013 it was announced, but Legendary, according to the Wikipedia, changed. There was a change in management, and if you don't know, changes in management, especially over at studios, can obviously stop a train in its tracks, you know.
Yeah. It wasn't.
We don't know anything about that, right,
Yeah.
guys?
Nope, not
No.
at all.
It wasn't fire breathing lizard centric.
That's right.
But there's also there's still a lot of interest in it. I don't know any stats on how the DVD sales are or how it is streaming, but as recently as 2020, you've got actual merchandise coming out. Spirit Halloween stuff. Funko put some stuff out. NECA's put stuff out recently. Sideshow Collectibles.
Yeah.
They've
Sam's
added
become
so much merchandise.
His name's Sam, right? Is that his name?
Sam. Mm-hmm.
Sam.
I'm guessing it's like a Sam Hain thing.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. Sam has become an iconic
Holy
horror
shit! Is
figure.
that what that is?
He has.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so dumb.
What?
Wow, I didn't put that together.
I don't know for sure. I'm guessing it's Sam Hain.
I would assume, and
Yeah.
I think it's officially called Samhain, technically, but it's commonly
referred
called
to as
Sam
Sam Hain.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I think you're right about.
Oh, also, I want to clear something up in case the people at home didn't understand this. I compared Josh to Peter Jackson because of their ability. I am fully aware of the fact that Peter Jackson is not Australian and Josh is. Peter's a Kiwi. He's from New Zealand. I'm a huge Peter Jackson fan, and when I compare Josh to Peter Jackson, it's because Axed felt very much like bad taste to me, and yeah, that's I was like, I thought about it and I was like, is that offensive? No, it can't be. Peter Jackson is one of the most iconic directors of all time.
Right.
Why would
He
that
is.
be
I
offensive?
think-
And I was like, oh yeah,
I think he
the audience
felt-
could be thinking he's thinking that Peter Jackson's fucking Australian.
No. Oh, you're funny. Okay, so let's get into it, right?
Yeah,
so
let's do it. Let's
we
mix
have
it
the
up.
basis of the story. It's five interwoven stories. I think once we get into it, we'll be able to give you, if you haven't seen it and you don't mind spoilers, we'll be able to give you a better idea of what this baby is all about.
Yeah.
So, I guess since it's my pick, I will get us started.
Kick it off.
If you're new to
Dizzle.
the show, we take 10 categories and we take numbers from 1 to 10 to rate them in our own personal opinions regarding the items. We've got script, acting, special effects, production design, wardrobe, music, sound design, camera and lighting, editing, and then overall enjoyability. There's several things, if you are into film, there are several things that we condensed together because we didn't want to get too hung up. We're all in the film industry. We didn't want to get too hung up on the minutia of a film set, which is it's huge. Like there's so
It's a
many.
lot.
You can break things down so much because they're so time consuming. They're so important that you literally have a painter on set. You know, you literally have somebody who actually sometimes a team of 3 or 4 people who are dealing with the hand props. Like it can be very very broken down, but we decided to keep this in a 10 category because we wanted to be even. 10 category system.
A short 10 category. The real reason for this is because I really was struggling with a 5-point system.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
I just couldn't. There's so, like, horror has such a massive, broad spectrum of good and bad, and it's so hard to pinpoint what that looks like with such little, because some shit is a fucking 2. Leprechaun 2 is a lot of 2. It's a big 2. But then you get a movie like Tonight, and how do you not? A 5 just doesn't seem high enough.
100%. Well, and I'm sorry, hold on.
Oh, now the
Not
show's
sponsored
begun.
by Dr. Pepper.
Oh,
Not
that was a
sponsored
Mickey's.
by.
No, I mean, listen,
The
I've got a
grenades,
Dr.
Glenn? The
Pepper
grenades?
and maybe a pumpkin cider.
The
I don't know.
grenades?
Yes,
The Mickey
of course.
grenades. Oh God.
They're the best.
Okay,
Endorsed,
so let's
fully
get
endorsed.
let's
Let's
get into
D.
it.
The script.
First
Tell us
thing
about it.
is script. Great stories. There's so many parts, especially on your first watch, of the story that are subtle and so well woven together and mean something completely differently until you get to the punchline, we'll call it. Sam is our ever-present trick-or-treater who is around to, I put punish the wicked. You know, Wikipedia has it anytime somebody is straying from a Halloween tradition, that's when he shows up, or that's why he's there. The continuity on Paths Crossing is, like I said earlier, it's like yummy candy to me.
Oh, dude, the opening shot is fucking nanners.
Oh, it's so good. I won't even talk about that, but I mean, like in the I meant my note here in the end, because I don't want to get there just yet, but the end is so beautifully done. It's well written. I thought they were very interesting stories that I don't want to. Austonian, where are you on it? You're like half.
It's okay. He knew the risks. I put the listen. I'll do it again just so everybody's aware. I put this. I threw this up real quick. Spoiler alert.
But I just don't want to wait. Have you gotten to the girls yet? Have you gotten to the party yet? That's all I want to know, Austonian, and we'll talk about it in a minute. If not, it's fine. Just let me know. Anyway, so
let's all sit here in silence until the lag catches up, so we know.
Shush your pie hole, sir. I was continuing to talk. Script.
Estonian Knight says we're good.
We're good.
Yes.
Okay. I absolutely loved, and I thought I had notes in here, and I'm really upset about it because a lot of my notes fucking disappeared when I was typing it. But the idea that you have of an all-female wolf pack that just eats dudes, I mean, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fabulous. And you think they're talking about her losing her virginity, but they're talking about her losing her "I'm gonna eat you" virginity kind of thing.
Which is also something to lose.
It's true.
It is.
Popping man cherries, I guess.
Oh wow.
And by man cherries we mean.
Anyway, so I'm gonna give it a 9.
Sorry,
because
everyone.
I know we've talked about things like, oh, is it perfect? I mean, I absolutely loved it. I'm gonna go with a 9 for me. So
that's solid. That's a rock solid score. Glenn, what about you, man? What do you think about the script for Trick or Treat?
I agree with actually everything that Denise said. Not that we normally really disagree.
This one's gonna go quick tonight, guys, because there's gonna be very little that we're gonna disagree on here.
Yeah, there's not gonna be much shitting on anything.
Yeah,
If
like
at
a
all.
lot of what Denise said, and then a lot of what Glenn and Denise said is how it's going to go tonight.
Right. It's gonna be pretty shit free. Yeah, no, I think it's really great the way, like you said, like they intertwine the stories, and we were talking about earlier about how in anthology movies you don't see the stories themselves getting intertwined with each other outside of your like through line story, be it the Crypt Keeper or whoever the fuck ever is your through line story. Um, with the script, obviously, it's dialogue, which is mostly what scripts are. None of it, to me, rung untrue or, more accurately, like unnatural. Not that it wasn't supernatural. It just it was well written. Like you weren't like, oh, nobody'd fucking say that. Or
Right.
I gave it an 8.5.
Nice.
It probably deserved a 9, but whatever. What about you, TJ?
Yeah, you know, man, I love this movie a lot, and I think the script is outstanding. I think the story is outstanding. I think the dialogue is like wholly outstanding. Like there's nothing really to pick apart here. Like if I had to get real critical, like really really critical, like I guess I can throw out like fake vampire teeth doing enough damage to make someone bleed out. Like I guess I could pick that apart, and I guess I could pick apart a couple of lines of dialogue here and there that were a little cheesy. But like overall, it's like for me it's a 9. I gave it a 9.
Nice.
It's very close to perfect. Yeah, I love that script. It's great. I would actually, that's one of those scripts that I would love to get a copy of. Like I used to collect scripts. I found a bunch of them in a dumpster once. It was rad. And living in LA, baby, gotta love it.
Yeah, no shit.
Fucking stacks of file boxes surrounding a dumpster. I was like, oh shit, the Resident Evil script was in there actually. The original
Somebody's
Resident Evil
whole
script was
life
in
just in
there.
a fucking dumpster. Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was fucking a Resident Evil script. I think I gave that to you, D, the Resident Evil script. But yeah, it's I love scripts. I'd love to actually read this script. I think it would be really interesting to see this on the page and how much of it like actually made it into the movie. Because sometimes things don't.
It's true. And the thing about the script before I go on to acting is it's hard enough to have like a linear script. And then when you throw like going back in time, whether it's a day or 20 years, and you want to keep the continuity, that's hard. But then when you're interweaving 5 stories and you're trying to find what makes the most sense where they cross paths, like, well, fucking done.
Well, because
Like,
that's
true.
the thing, right? You have
That's actually
like if you go into like Tales of Terror or the Twilight Zone movie, like any of these anthology movies, like you really don't see too often this level of integration where you have actors, characters from one movie or one story appearing in 2, 3 other stories. Like that's no joke of interweaving because the timing of the night, like the story has a clock on it and it takes place in this like specific window of time. And it's a small town, and that's another crutch that they have on themselves because it's like, well, why wouldn't you see these people? And you do. You see in shots in passing, like all the werewolf girls are in the opening shot. They're out of focus. Like they're a blur on the screen. If you don't know
camera
what you're
does
looking
this real
for,
quick, and it's just like, oh.
you're not going to see it. And I think that to write in that way, this is an anthology movie, but it's not an anthology movie. It's a movie that happens to have several stories taking place at the same time in the same town, and I fucking love that concept. And with that said, the town is populated by some of the best horror movie characters that have graced the screen, both small or large. Denise, what were your thoughts on the acting in this movie?
I go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt, and I hate to do it right now. But
but
you brought up an extremely good point about the non-linear way of writing, or how writing linearly that word.
Linearly.
Yeah, I'm not
There
going
we
to try
go.
it again.
Everybody say it. Linearly.
In a line
Linearly.
is extremely hard. Like writing a good script is insanely hard, and then writing one that's good that does this shit is like even harder. Like I know everybody gives Tarantino credit for doing it in Pulp Fiction, but he didn't do it first. I agree, and I know we aren't supposed to do this, but I just did, and it's not because I'm playing some sort of game or anything. I changed it. It's a 9. It's a 9. I give an extra half point, which is true because like truly doing a non-linear script that makes sense and is good is like this is Mount Everest. And
yeah.
Like,
Well, it's funny because I wonder if it wasn't just broken down as one story.
It could have been.
There are all the characters in the town, and these are different scenes taking place in the same story. That's how I would have written it. Like I would have had the note cards out and just I would have boarded this whole movie out like it was a straight up feature and just moved the pieces around until it made sense.
For sure.
Yeah.
But then you have to write a shooting script.
Yeah.
To where you add in like that. Oh, there they are, and like.
Yeah. We catch the wolf packs walking down the sidewalk briefly as the camera pans right. Like
and yeah, I mean maybe they did write it like you said in line, and then like they added the extra things in that like just connect everything, but that's just an extra layer of script writing. That again,
that's all that is.
Like, and let me give credit to Michael Dougherty was the director and the writer, and I was like, well, we need to give him the recognition he deserves. He also wrote Krampus,
which is great.
Which we're going to check out at some point. It is great.
Christmas
Superman
time.
Returns in 2006, writer on X-Men 2, X2 X-Men United. And then I looked at his filmography, and guess what has been announced?
What?
Trick or Treat 2.
Oh my God, how exciting.
Not only that, Hellraiser, the TV series.
Wait.
And I believe Persiog was just asking about Hellraiser. Yes, it is on his IMDb as announced Hellraiser TV series.
Ooh, holy shit!
What station?
Yeah, I mean
HBO?
Shudder maybe.
It's gotta be like
because
Shudder,
it's 100%. It's not going to be.
Yeah, it's not going to be on TBS. Yeah, it's not going to be
No.
ABC Family.
It doesn't have any information on the IMDb page because it's just been announced. But that's
taste your pleasure.
wild. A Godzilla King of Monsters screenplay and story by him. Godzilla vs. Kong story by look at him. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
So Michael Dougherty.
Good.
Okay, speaking of talent. Let's talk about the acting.
I didn't
Top
mean
fucking notch, baby. First class, excellent cast, except for Principal Wilkins' son. He sucks, but that might have been on purpose. He was just really annoying to me.
Just calling this little kid out. Little kid's like fucking 17 years old now or something.
At this point, the kid's got to be almost old enough to drink. I'm sorry. He just
And
annoyed the crap out of me.
You should.
So,
but I think that was acting.
I'm just saying it might have been done on purpose.
Like everybody hates Cersei. That was good acting.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he was definitely supposed to be annoying, especially because you think that his father's going to murder him.
Yeah,
but he's just a crazy little bastard too. So I went 9.5. But everybody is like, he's great. He is great. He did well. But maybe I gave it half a point less because of the annoyance factor.
I like how you went
if it's
so
on
hard
HBO, that's exciting. That's exactly where I want Hellraiser.
It's
right on HBO. Yeah, that's a great selection.
Basically, any premium, like if HBO's like we're too busy, Cinemax will work. They're doing excellent work with Warrior, which isn't a horror movie, but go watch Warrior. Sorry,
Glenn. What were your thoughts on the acting in this film, Trick or Treat?
I think this is maybe my tied for, until I changed. Nope, never mind. I can just look at the numbers and tell you what I meant. I agree. I thought all of the cast was great. Brian Cox, has he done wrong ever? I don't think he has. I disagreed with you. I thought the kid was really good because I did hate him and I didn't want him to get stabbed in the face.
No, you're right. You're right.
I, he might have been like terrible, and they like it was an
Leaned
editing
into it.
thing that they did.
Well, I mean, they could have leaned into it. You know, like
I mean, no,
you
yeah,
find a
100%.
kid that's like that naturally. He's in the lobby of the casting office, being like, "Mom, when are we gonna audition?
Exactly.
Mom, when are you gonna do
Yeah.
this?" And like you look out
Bless
in the
your little
waiting room,
heart.
and all the parents are ready to fucking throw themselves out the
Billy.
window.
Exactly.
And they're like, "That kid, get that kid in here. He's the one."
Yeah, we're gonna film
Poor child.
this.
Yeah,
We're
just
gonna
hit
pretend like
go.
Dylan's gonna stab him a billion times in his basement.
Yeah.
Dylan Baker,
Dylan
principal,
Baker.
the principal, he's in so many things, and you don't really realize it. He's so good. He's so good at being creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's played a good guy, but I can't recall. He's I mean, he's not a legend like Brian Cox really is, so I can't really say he's that. He's extremely good in it, and like that isn't saying for the rest of like the 80 other people in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Anna Paquin's great. The whole wolf pack is amazing.
Every one of them.
Sam's great, and you like it's not even you don't see a human face ever.
Yeah.
For him,
What
He
a
emotes
crazy,
with his body
violent,
well.
and sympathetic character. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
like even like horny costume clerk dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is like no missteps.
Acting
There
wise.
really isn't. I can't think of any.
I got one, but I'm going to talk about it in my turn.
Oh, snap.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Don't make me change my shit again.
What's your
I give it an 8.5, which is
okay.
a full point less than you, but like again, as we've discussed, like acting is my least knowledgeable. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. 8.5. It's basically what I gave everything. Is 8.5 until I change it.
I gave the acting a 9, and I'll tell you why. All
This
the main
is going
cast,
to be your highest favorite movie.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to be my highest. Yeah, like the whole cast, all the main cast members, all the speaking parts for the most part are 10s. They're amazing. The main cast of this, all the people driving the story are insanely phenomenally talented actors. And they bring that talent to this horror movie with the gravitas of any other film that they would have been in.
Yeah.
Which is respect.
True.
I think some of the ancillary characters were good, but when you're in a movie with Brian Cox, those performances are not going to stand up quite as tall as these other amazing performances from Dylan Baker and like all these people like they're. So when it's again, and these aren't bad performances like this, the store clerks, the news guys, they're not bad performances. They're good performances, but they're not 10 caliber performances.
Sure.
So I lowered them down a little bit. And my one issue I had was actually with the girl who dies from the vampire bite. Again, I wasn't a fan of that performance. It seemed over the top and a little hokey for me. I think that whole scene, to be honest,
She was dying.
oh yeah, no, super dying. I think that whole scene just bothers me in the movie overall because I'd mentioned it earlier. I don't know why it's there, other than to make us think that he's a vampire.
Yeah, precisely.
Because like the teeth don't look particularly sharp. Like if I were to bite my tongue with my vampire teeth, it would go through my tongue. Like without batting an eye, it would go through my tongue. So no doubt that, but his seemed rounded off a bit, and I don't know, her death wasn't. I didn't buy it. I'm not. Listen, a solid 9 across the board. It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't a bad death scene. It just wasn't. In a movie full of great death scenes, it felt lacking. It felt.
Yeah.
It didn't feel as delivered as some of the other ones did. Again, Brian Cox and what's her name who died first? Leslie Bibb. These death scenes are a thing of legend in the horror world. That's some good dying. You did some good dying there, kid.
Good nine.
But yeah, so 9, solid 9, really good. I'm 2 for 2 on the 9s right now, and I feel like this next trend is probably going to continue high with special effects. Denise, what did you think about the special effects in Trick or Treat?
Oh shit. Well, you know me, and we all agree on this. I love me some practical fucking effects.
As
There
you should.
were mostly practical effects, which is very exciting.
Yep.
I think the blood was great. It had a good color.
Rich
That's
and
always
deep.
something that we look at in movies. Leslie Bibb's death, that lollipop shoved in her mouth, holy fit, fucking shit. That was great.
Holy fit.
That was holy fit.
How did it
That
fit?
was
Is the question.
awesome. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what
I think I know.
the
Special effects.
what?
Yeah.
So thumbs up on those. Thumbs up on the vomit. That was great. The kid's head on the
Oh yeah.
Lazy Susan. That's fabulous.
That's
The
one of the
wolf
best
teeth.
covered kid heads I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wolf teeth were truly my least favorite part because it was too much for Anna Paquin's mouth. Yikes. That could be said for anyway, I'm sorry.
We're gonna gif that.
No, we're not.
Oh, boy, what
it
have
was
you
just
done? You better
it
hope
was
Sean's not
difficult.
watching.
It was difficult for her to speak because they didn't fit well. So she was like trying to talk like this. And that is always, I mean, like we've seen me try to talk with my vampire teeth. It is really difficult to speak with fake teeth in your mouth.
Oh yeah.
But something like that, it seemed like one big old piece that wasn't well fitted. I think it was really cool of them undressing their skin and unzipping their flesh. Very, very powerful for me. Like seeing that female wolf pack just take what you think is all about sex and turn it on its head, right? Praise the Lord on the practical wolf head. It's not the best wolf I've ever seen, but I love a practical wolf head.
It's far from the fucking worst though.
Oh,
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Sam.
Oh, some bad werewolves out there.
Fucking Sam's head is amazing. I think it's well done. What an interesting design of how his face looks. The partial dismemberment by shotgun, and then the pumpkin gut hand, that was awesome. I loved it. Also, who makes your lollipops, Sam? They look delicious. I want to chomp on this baby.
Yeah, you don't
that
get,
has
you
not,
don't
that
get
has nothing to
clarity.
do with special effects.
Anyway, can you fit that whole thing in your mouth? Is that? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. That's gonna get clipped, and then we're gonna get shut down.
Yeah,
that's true. So I had a couple of issues, so I gave it a 9.5. I gave it pretty high marks.
Yeah, Glenn, what about you, man? Special effects, Trick or Treat. Tell us about it.
It was like what 95% practical for everything. So like that should have a higher score than what I'm about to say. And I don't want to change another one. God damn it.
Listen, buddy.
You're not changing it until you say it. So
I haven't changed it yet. I can't disagree with anything you said, and like you pointed out more than I think I was realizing.
Which is why you have to change your score.
Kinda.
And that's okay. Well, Austinionite's the only one who's going to be doing shots with this. So
I didn't think we were doing that.
They're going to go the periods in chat.
Or I don't
No, it's definitely something we. Yeah, I can't even turn it.
We don't encourage.
Yes, exactly. That.
Correct. We do not. The views and opinions of Channel 29 do not reflect the views and opinions of the subsidiaries.
People who make it. No, that's not the term.
This is taking a turn.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Apologies, everyone.
It all started.
I can't disagree with really anything you said or really add anything. You went pretty full on there with the special effects. Like the only reason I don't think it was higher than what I gave it it wasn't like over the top, which isn't a good reason to not give it a good score.
I know, what the fuck, Glenn? Just kidding.
Well,
Do
I
what you
initially
will.
gave it an 8.5, so
But
it's getting a 9. It's
Oh, there we go.
we have a change in score. This is why I don't do mine too early. Although sometimes I have gone back and changed them after y'all talk.
oh,
That's
I
fair.
just changed
Hey,
the wrong one.
we're all pointing things out. You know, we're all learning together.
So
I gave the special effects in this wonderful film a 9.5. Because the only issue I had with it was there were a couple of the digital effects that were like real nitpicky. Like I had to get real nitpicky to lower that from a 10. But that's about it. The werewolf scene had most of them. But the practical
agree.
effects were all 10s across the board. Anything that a human hand touched in this movie was a 10. Not that humans didn't make the digital effects; they very much did, but they weren't covered in blood when they did it. So
Right.
No.
And like at an 05 or an 06 or whatever, like we were going hard into CGI at that time, and they didn't here.
You know, I hear people still
Thank
to this
you.
day. I hear people still to this day say, "Well, we have to do digital effects because it's cheaper. We can never afford to do this movie
No.
with practical effects." And I just don't believe it. Like, I'm sorry, there are so many talented artists out there who aren't, you know,
We know
necessarily directly related
shit.
to the Greg Nicoteros or Rick Bakers or those people. Like, there are plenty of young hungers. We worked with a phenomenal girl out of New Jersey. God, I think her name was Lisa. I can't remember her last name, but for this movie we did called Baby Frankenstein, that's on Amazon Prime. She did a phenomenal practical appliance for our main monster and some amazing makeup work on our creature for that. And and it didn't break the bank. You know, she was kind enough to work on our budget, which was nothing. And ultimately, I just think that if you want to do practical effects, if you're out there and you're like, I'm gonna make a horror movie, I want to do practical effects, don't sacrifice your vision and go to digital. Find an artist who wants to work on it, who's passionate about the creature, who might not have all the experience you're looking for, but's hungry and adaptable. And like our makeup artist on that movie lives in LA now and works for some of these big effects studios, and she's fucking phenomenal. It's Brandy Morris, and
she works on the Orville.
yeah, she's bananas talented. She has a Twitch channel, actually. I don't remember what it is, but we'll have to follow her and rate her some night. But yeah, like practical effects are king for me. I don't care. I will forgive so much more in a practical effect than I will in a digital one. So
That's
much
the thing.
more. Child of the 80s, this is what we grew up on.
Yeah.
And this argument's been made a billion times. The tactileness of it being lit in the real place that everything is. Like, for example, Fright Night. When you first see her, like, full unhinged jaw, fucking terrifying.
Yeah. It's so otherworldly that we're not used. Our brains weren't used to seeing something that fucking twisted, right? Like that was like, like when the Black Hole Sun video came out from Soundgarden, like my brain cracked.
It's true.
With the like just fucking crazy, and to see that oversized mouth with all those fangs, man, yeah, practical effects forever.
Or it doesn't even have to be just makeup effects either. Like matte paintings, like some of the best artistry and like set extensions and whatever are in fucking Blade Runner, and that wasn't CGI. Like hashtag LA is a fire escape of grossness, but like it isn't the way it looks like in Blade Runner in 2019. Like that was miniatures and matte paintings, and it looks amazing, even though it was shot 40 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
More than 40 years ago, but
darn close.
The true thing is getting people who are creative and good at some sort of craft to create an illusion that's real in some sort of sense.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
Not always Trump CGI, but like will.
Well, I just feel like I never go home from a theater or from a movie watching experience talking about how amazing the CG effects were. Like I never take that moment home. Like The Relic is a great example of CG creature effects done well. The whole monster is basically fucking CG, and he moves fast and he's dangerous and it's darkly lit and it plays right. But like that's probably the best example of that because I just I just take those physical memories home so much longer. Which is why the It movies, which we're gonna cover one day, and I'm gonna get blacklisted from a couple studios for what I'm gonna say about the It remake. But
I'm on vacation those days.
Tim Curry, the very simplistic makeup of Pennywise the Clown in the It miniseries was so much more impactful than all the millions of dollars they spent on visual trickery in the It remake. That's just a great example of you can do a lot with very little, but you could very quickly fuck up a whole movie with the littlest of mistakes in visual.
Well, that's what I'm saying though, is like Tim Curry's It was amazing and creepy and scary and enduring because they had an amazing creative behind it. They had Tim Curry there.
Yeah.
Like you're not remembering the makeup of it. You're remembering Tim Curry being the acting chameleon / terrifying human that
bringing it to life.
Which honestly is nothing to, and we should get off of this because it's nothing against what was it? What is Skarsgård?
He's one of the Skarsgård.
Nothing.
Bill Skarsgård.
It wasn't a fabulous actor.
Fuck. No, it's not Bill.
Teddy.
Yes,
Skarsgård.
he is a fantastic actor.
Yes, but
no, his performance was great. It was just a shitty designed character.
Well, they also they relied too much.
They hobbled in with a bad design
on the scares coming from some crazy like unhinged jaw thing, and we'll get off of this because we're going to talk about it someday. I wasn't scared, I wasn't. Tim Curry still scares me to this fucking day. Not because I watched it when I was young, but man, he's like a creepy pedophile serial killer character who just gives you the fucking creeps because of the way he delivers things.
Yeah.
Skarsgård is terrifying.
Yeah.
It is. It wasn't, I don't want to say this, but it wasn't a good creative design for him.
No.
Mm-hmm. Maybe if they had let him rely on just his acting, like they let Tim Curry.
Yeah, if they let him release
the weird visual googly eyes fucking rolling around. Like, and I get the motivation. Let's get off this because I'm going to start tearing it two apart.
I'll give him credit there because I do want to give him two pieces of credit there. Skarsgård actually can do the googly eyes practically in his own head, which is crazy, and he can do the lip thing that he does, which is also creepy. They did it too early.
Oh yeah, and then some of the googly eye stuff was super digital. It was so bad. It was so.
Okay,
they did.
So no more.
Okay.
No more.
All right, let's get off that.
We're going to move on.
We're spending too much
time to production design.
Yeah, Denise, tell us quickly about production design.
Production design. I didn't have any issues with anything. I thought it was great. It all fit well. I loved the Halloween decorations that she. Actually, probably should have dinged this in script, but that she foolishly thought she was going to take down in 20 minutes. It looked like a 3-hour job. I really enjoyed those decorations, so I gave it an 8.5. Nothing jumped out for me. Super big, and nothing upset me. So 8.5 is good for me.
Glenn, what about you, man? Prod design.
This was my original highest score, and I talked about it earlier, so I'll be very brief. I think the quarry segment is where they really knocked it out of the park. Like I know they shot in a real quarry, obviously, but again, like the use of the fog and atmosphere, which we still go back and forth whether that's production design or effects. I'm gonna go with its production design here, but it is how it's being used. Anyways, with that, uh, there's one shot where the bus is like sitting ass end out of the fucking water, and there's just like moss everywhere, and it's just like it's super creepy. I mean, we all rode a school bus, and it was just like it evokes some sort of emotion, just like seeing a dilapidated one, and like there's haunted zombie dead whatever they are like around because of that. Like it's perfect set design. And then like I said earlier, that just the one throwaway shot where it's just like this amazing fucking Norman Rockwell painting of like fall after they get off the bus. And then just like also I think they made a crazy amount of fucking pumpkins for this movie that weren't real.
Foam. They were all foam.
Foam, like
that's a lot of work. That's a lot of hand work by hand.
And they weren't the same. Like if you look at them, they all have different cutouts. Like it would have been easy to make one mold and be like, we're done.
Yeah.
Like there's like a trillion fucking pumpkins, which I gave it a 9.
Some were ceramic.
Oh, so they can break.
A 9 is great. Yeah.
See, I gave production design a 9.5, and here's why. What Glenn said with the amount of pumpkins, the town itself was very rich and very populated. The parade was a big deal. The parade
was great.
Brian Cox's house was awesome inside. So many details, so much little going on. The blood painting on the wall, the trick or treat stuff in Cox's house, you can go on and on, but the thing that I didn't think was super, super great, which is why I gave it a 9.5. And oh no, I'm forgetting it now. It's going away.
Oh no.
It's going away. What was the part in the movie that I thought the production design was a little lacking? Well, I don't remember. So we'll move on. But 9.5 for me from production design, because something in the movie was not quite... Oh, I remember what it was now. Denise, I actually wholeheartedly disagree with your favorite production design part. I thought the stuff in the front of the house was lazy. I think there was a lot of like you could create, like you, Denise, being someone who's done production design, you could spin that entirety of that scene up for less than $1,000. Built and dressed in one day. Mm-hmm. And to me, it made enough sense that they would do it, but it just felt like if you're gonna go that hard in the paint on your front lawn, you're probably not doing it with a bunch of sheets and Christmas lights. Like, it was very full, but usually when you see someone's front yard that's that full of Halloween shit, it's good Halloween shit, not 2x4s with gardening gloves and a sheet on the top,
And you're right, because it's actually probably too full.
And why is the pumpkin in front of the house, in front of the fence, and not
on the sidewalk? Yeah. I'm not changing my score. God damn. But I'm agreeing with that.
But that's the one thing. I thought everything else was so good.
Okay.
I took off half because it wasn't bad. Like, it was, for what it was, the design was good. It was executed well for what they went with. I just think that it could have been so much bigger for this guy who's such a huge Halloween fan that he's getting upset that his wife wants him to take down the Halloween decorations because it's tradition, and it's it just left.
Fair enough.
It just left me a little lacking. But what about wardrobe, Denise? What do you think about the wardrobe?
I thought the wardrobe was fantastic. I loved the themed Halloween costumes with the wolf pack. I loved that, of course, Anna Paquin's got to be a Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
The kids' costumes were good, especially that little asshole who's dressed as an angel. It's so funny. Sam's outfit is fabulous.
So good.
Burlap sack over his head, and he's in a onesie, like a baby's onesie.
Yeah.
And it puts an extra creep factor on it. Interestingly enough, I just read that the kid who's peeking while the girls are changing, that's the little boy who was in the same costume the whole time.
Oh, how funny. Good for him that he got to have his face seen.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I thought the robot costume was fun. And yeah, nobody else. Trying to think back. Yeah, I think it was great. 9. I'll give it a 9.
Solid 9. Glenn, what about you,
Yeah.
man?
I thought it was all great. I'll try to put this as tactfully as I can. Like, Halloween in America is usually about candy for the kids, getting fucked up for adults.
Mm-hmm.
And the third part of the I don't even know what you would say.
Taking otherwise average costumes and turning them into sexy versions of that thing.
Yes,
that is a classic Halloween trope. At this point at this point in time, the joke has been made a billion times about like what average normal job can you turn into a sexy costume? Like sexy baker, sexy construction worker, sexy oncologist. Like,
do they have sexy mortician?
I'm sure they
have
do.
To.
Yeah.
Right.
This is some appendix to Rule 34. But anyways, like, that's the thing. They address it. It's well done. That is exactly what you see in real Halloween in America, at least. There's sexy Riding, or well, she wasn't sexy Riding Hood, but like everybody else was. Exactly. I honestly thought the vampire's mask was really fucking cool. That like leather thing.
It is hard to get one that actually stays flush against your face.
For sure. And it was like very ornate. Like, I thought that was really good. Even like you said, like ancillary throwaway characters you see, like the robot was awesome. It looked like a whole homemade one. There's a quick shot in the werewolf segment where there's just like a dude in a bear costume. I think is in literally one shot for like half a second.
Oh, in the background? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you rented a pretty dope bear costume. Even Brian Cox is just like, I live in a garbage shit hoarder. Well, he doesn't hoard anything, but like terrible house. So I have like this gross shit that I'm wearing. It was all pitch perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave it a not deserving 8.5. I'm not changing it.
That's hilarious. So I went with a 9 for wardrobe, and I'll tell you why. I think the wardrobe across the board is really excellent. Again, I try to be, when movies are this good, I try to be really overly critical. So I had some issues with the costumes, the Halloween costumes that you see throughout the movie. I think the robot is actually the coolest because it is homemade and that's fun. But the rest of them, just like in the parade, like in
like background costumes, and even like, yes, like I love the female werewolf costumes. I love that theme, but to me, most of it, save, like I said, Sam's costume, vampire's costume, Brian Cox's wardrobe, and the robot costume. Everything else felt like you could buy it online on Amazon or at a Halloween costume store, which isn't a bad thing because it's Halloween, right? And that makes sense. But some of the main characters' costumes felt like that. They just felt a little throwaway. And that's what ultimately swayed down the point. And again, it's very overly critical to lose that point because everything in it's so good and it all matches and it all plays. But it was just like, having been an extra in a Halloween costume scene, a lot of those people probably brought their own from home. Yeah.
That's what we were asked to do in that scene, was if you had a costume, bring one. I did not. I showed up in a sweater, and I got beer poured on me by Katie Holmes for the day. So that was my experience. Go watch First Daughter, everybody, and wait for the Halloween costume scene, and watch me get beer thrown on me for.
Known you for a decade. Not sure I know the story, and I have to offline you about that story.
Yeah, we'll talk all about that. It was a great time. Forrest Whitaker.
When we watched First Daughter.
Yeah, which is a horrifying horror movie. No, but I really did like the wardrobe, so I gave it a 9.
Great. I'm going to say one thing about that is I have shopped for Halloween costumes for camera, and it's actually really hard to balance out too sexy with IP held costumes
Yeah.
or nods to other things. It is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
I remember, and I can't even remember what it was. I know I had to look for some for Baby Frankenstein, but I can't remember what other thing I worked on where I was like, well, shit. I was having a real difficult time because you run into a lot of these,
Well, unless you
especially
get it cleared.
nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless you get a brand cleared, so like
Which,
Nike or somebody clears or sends you like in mass. It's tough to do.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think where it
Okay.
lost for me the most points was in the parade scene in the wide.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of like ghost and like what wardrobe was able to put together for extras who didn't bring a
You didn't
costume.
bring something.
Like
Yeah.
a lot of like like so that's it. But again, like very hypercritical in that
Sure.
moment.
Um, okay, let's talk about music. Music is next.
Music.
You know, I'm just gonna go right out with my score, which is a 9.5. I
Wow.
thought I thought all the music was very well placed. I thought when you've got like the Sam Brian Cox fight scene, when they're telling the story about how the kids were killed by the bus driver, stuff in the principal's home, all the music at the parade. I think everything was very well placed and put you in that particular story. So, well done for me, 9.5.
Nice, Glenn. What do you think about the music?
I thought it was really good too. I initially had given this an 8. I changed it before we started, so that doesn't count. It would have been tied for the lowest score I gave, which like if a movie is getting a low score of an 8.
All right.
I gave it higher scores because like they clearly did like a full like orchestral score, which I give much credit to because that is not easy to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little hard. It probably should have a little higher score, but I'm not going to change it.
Oh, really?
Because like a lot of the score is kind of inspired by, or it doesn't rip it off obviously, but it's like there's pieces that are like clearly this is supposed to be like Halloween-esque because they're showing a scene that's very Halloween-esque or whatever. So like all of it isn't original in a sense. So I give it a, for me, fairly high score of an 8.5. It's probably worth a 9, but I really don't want to change another score.
And right, no, we get it. You hate John Carpenter, so that makes sense.
That makes sense.
TJ.
How did?
Yeah,
what?
you know what? I actually agree with Glenn's score on this. I also gave it an 8.5.
Oh, well, guys.
Well, here's why. You know, I'm usually big on the music side of this rating system, and there's nothing wrong with this music. It's all very good. It sounds awesome. It's in world. Can't find a thing wrong with it. It's just not very memorable. That's the biggest hook for me. If this thing had a song, I know there's a main title song to this movie. I know it's a theme throughout the whole movie.
Me look bad.
I just don't remember what it was, and to me, that's where it lost a point and a half. Was their main title wasn't memorable enough for me to be singing it here with you today, and I only watched the movie 2 hours ago, so that's it. But other than that, the score is phenomenal. It's really good, and it fits exactly in the world that you're in. And all that score does is elevate the movie. But it just wasn't memorable enough for me to give it a 9 or higher.
So that's interesting. So memorable is what is important to you as far as music goes, not some, because there's also something to be said for, and I'll just say this and we can move on. There's also something to be said for not really sticking out, because that means that for me, it means that it matched just right.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing.
just
I think that's dead on. And I don't a score doesn't need to be memorable for me. It just would have pushed it. It would have pushed this otherwise already amazing score over a 9 and probably into a 9.5 if it had a banging theme song that I could sit here and go like denton 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 denton. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like
It's not a
there's
concert, TJ.
well, yeah, it might be. That's the show after this, Blood and Music. Very different
Just
show.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Denise, what do you think about sound design? Since you love the music so much.
I thought it was very well done. And this could be because they were in a real quarry, but the fact that they captured it so beautifully and cleanly, the echo in the quarry was stunning to me. I thought it was really cool. And I thought that it really put you in the scene. Things like Sam biting the lollipop, eating the candy bar. I thought it was all really well done, so I gave it a 9.
I'm sorry. Were you done?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I gave it an 8. This was my initial lowest score, which again isn't a low score. It all fit. It was really well done. Nothing sounded canned or faked to me. And not that it has to like stand out to get a perfect score, but I also don't really know what constitutes a perfect score on anything. It's like a fluid thing. I don't know. You know it when you know it. It didn't reach it there for me.
Sure.
It was extremely well done. Like literally no problems. It deserves probably better, but 8.
And there we are.
TJ.
I gave it a 9.5. This sound design for me, D, falls a little bit closer to what you were talking about in regards to music. I didn't notice it. It was all good. It was all so good that there was never a moment in that movie where I said fake or that's not real, or like down to the candy bar wrappers and the cutting of the tendons and the stabbing of the head. Like all of it felt very, 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 very real and very, very created for those moments. So yeah, I gave it all a 9.5 on sound design. Yeah. What about camera and lighting, Denise?
I was very pleased with it all. I loved the Sam cam. We start there and we end there, looking through Sam's burlap sack. I loved the fluid movements of the camera through like the crowd and the costume shop. There's so much movement. It wasn't distracting for me in any way. A lot of foot shots. The director or cinematographer really loved those foot shots, but they were all very different. So I didn't, it doesn't bother me. It all flowed really well. I'm like, because I feel like I've given so many things 9. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to give it a 9. I'm going to give it a 9. I was like toying between 8.5 and 9, but I'm going to give it a 9.
I love it.
Did you just
I love that.
change it? Did I hear you type?
No, I was back and forth. I was typing in my final number.
She had
so you hadn't scored it yet.
No, I was like 8.5, 9, 8.5, 9.
Okay, gotcha.
I was trying to. I was feeling bullied into giving it lower.
No one bullied you.
No one's bullying you. These are your opinions. Oh my god, what a terrible thing.
I'm just kidding. Stop it.
What a terrible
Now
thing.
you're calling me terrible?
Horror podcast refuses to let female host have her own opinion. That's the headline. That's the headline now, Denise. Thanks.
Oh my gosh.
Canceled tomorrow.
Stop it.
Glenn, what'd you think about the camera and lighting in this movie?
I mentioned it several times. I think the quarry scene is the prettiest and most cinematic. Again, that one shot of that fucking background after they get off the bus. I now actually hope that didn't happen and I just like hallucinated it.
Oh my god.
It happened. I'm pissed because I'm fucking gonna change this. I wrote in my notes literally here that like when I think of this movie, this is what I think of as autumn or Halloween, and this is what I think of as Halloween or autumn like before this shit was made, and they were just like, they like Dumbledore out of my brain with his. I don't remember Harry Potter, but like he took like a thing and put it in the Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're all the Potterheads are in the chat right now, lighting up.
Where they, anyways, you take a memory out and put it in a little like cistern that has water and memories.
Memorioso or whatever the spell is. And he yanks it out with a wand and it goes in the jar. Yeah, flushes it down the toilet.
It's truly like it's this movie, and again, we can't watch it because it's a series and it's not really horror, but it's Over the Garden Wall. This is autumn. This is fall. It's Halloween to me. I gave it an 8.5, but it's fucking wrong. It's a 9.5.
Oh, that's a whole point jump.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a serious jump. But I'm glad you brought it there, Glenn, because I also gave it a 9.5. I thought the fucking camera and light in this movie was top notch. These people knew what they were doing, man. These people knew how to tell a story with camera and lighting. God damn, did they do a good job of this. I'm not even going to go into it. Just go watch that movie. It's some of the best cinematography and lighting you're ever going to see in a horror movie. It's top notch.
It is fabulous.
9.5.
Even like I don't recall any like shots that are like framed weirdly. I don't remember seeing any shots that were like mildly soft where you're just like including like those like extreme close-ups where they did on the vampire's eyes and his teeth. Yeah. And they shot this motherfucker on film. Like doing that.
What?
It's that old. I'm sure it is. They didn't shoot it on video. Come on.
07.
In 05 or whenever the fuck this was made? Yeah. No. This wasn't Lucas. They weren't doing Star Wars Episode 2.
All right.
Like getting like super crisp focus.
How dare you,
on like
Denise?
sorry, okay. Like on like really shallow depths.
Yeah.
They had like the most professional Canadian crews because they didn't shoot this in Ohio. But
spoiler alert.
Maybe that's why they got great fog. X-Files had great fog in Canada. Anyways, sorry. We should go on.
Well, you know, all the hard work has been done. Everything's in place, and now it's time to send some things to the cutting room floor. Denise, what'd you think about the editing in Trick or Treat?
And now I feel like I gave camera and lighting too low a score and editing too. I went with a 9 for editing. I thought it was all great. I thought the pace was fabulous. One of my favorite cuts was the howling from the woods to the quarry, and I thought that was a fabulous cut. So 9 for me, and the cat is laying on the keyboard and changing things up.
Hilarious.
Well, you changed it.
No, the cat changed it. That doesn't count.
Someone get that cat a drink. Stat.
Who has milk? Motherfucker.
Yeah. Milk.
Or cream?
She's like
what do cats like?
Cream? A White Russian, maybe?
Ooh, they're the dude.
Yeah. Glenn, what'd you think about the editing in this movie?
I thought it was great. I actually put the same note in there that the howling during the kids segment, the quarry segment, was great. I am actually now curious. I want to see that script like you do.
Yeah.
Is it scripted or is that editing or was it both?
I don't know. I don't know. I really want to see the shooting script.
Yeah. Like I super rarely want to see a script unless it's fucking great and they do something where I'm like, how did they do that? Was it written or is this like a creative after the fact?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's one of them. I gave it an 8.5, which is basically what I gave
everyone that you didn't change.
That's actually fair. Nobody watched this in the VOD. Nobody watched this in the VOD and give me fucking notes. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with an 8.5. There was nothing. Again, this makes it sound like I only like flashy or loud things.
I mean, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah. Why are rating systems so hard?
I don't know, because they're opinion based on this show, so it's really there's none of us are technically proficient enough to really rate any of this. We're just
oh my God.
We're just a bunch of production and actor people and from Hollywood that are giving our opinions. So it's really what does your heart tell you, Glenn? Listen to your
I
heart.
gave it 8.5. I'm not going to change
listen
it.
to your heart.
Because again, like
Oh,
true medium should be 5.0s, but we don't do that because 7.0s is like because you have a movie and it's out and you can watch it. I just like justified our 7.0 in my head now.
Yeah, 7.0 is our 20% on the tip. That's 7.0.
It's true. I'm sticking at 8.5 because that's still a really good rating.
Yeah, I think it is. I actually went higher. I went 9.5 on the editing.
Right.
Because I think when you have a script this complex and you have this much to work with, putting this type of story together with this level of interwoven story and complexity and doing it in a way like we've all mentioned the Holland Quarry cut, like that's not the only time that this movie does that. And then just the subtlety of the other characters appearing throughout the movie. It's just really smart. Really good. 9.5. I have nothing else to say. The editing's fucking great in this movie.
Yeah.
And here we are at the finish line. It's the end of our rating and our favorite thing to talk about here. Denise, tell us about the enjoyability factor of this movie. Why do you love this movie so much?
Oh boy. So I actually do. I found a couple of pieces of trivia that I want to go over real quickly because that, a couple of things will definitely roll into that. But I'm such a liar. I scrolled right past it. So there is a little bit of an explanation. It was originally slated to be released in October of 2007. Warner Brothers, without explanation or reason, this is from IMDb, pulled the film from the schedule and no rescheduled date was announced. One reason could have been that Saw 4 was slated for release around the same time. And they didn't want to compete against it. Another possible reason was...
That was better.
Yeah.
Wait, Saw 4 was better?
Multi-million-dollar franchise.
Gotcha. Yes, exactly.
Versus birth of a potential multi-million-dollar franchise.
Sometimes I'm sarcastic.
Yeah.
Another possible reason it was buried was that it was possible fallout from the box office disappointment of Superman Returns, which was co-written by Michael Dougherty, writer-producer, which is a bummer. And both produced and directed by Bryan Singer, whose production company produced this film. Yikes, y'all. Drama. There was a brief talk, that the film would finally be released around Halloween of 2008, possibly early 2009. But neither release ever materialized, and then it just went straight to DVD in 2009, October of 2009.
It deserved so much more.
So much more. Agreed.
This should have spawned a franchise like it was supposed to. Should have.
Well, and we're on our way, I think, hopefully with part 2.
Yeah, I think Epic was saying earlier, like late 2021, early 2022 is when we can expect
that's going to be fab. I'm so excited for it.
Better late than never.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
Yeah. The name of the character, Sam, is derived from Samhain, the ancient Celtic festival of the dead from which modern-day Halloween is derived. Despite having been portrayed as such in this film and other works, it's not a deity or a personage of ancient Celtic polytheism. It's only the name of the celebration. So I was accidentally right. That's exciting.
There you go.
And Anna Paquin's character Laurie is named after Laurie Strode. There's a lot of nods. If you go to the IMDb trivia, there's a lot of nods that Michael Dougherty put in there, which is very exciting.
Love that.
Glenn, you're going to be really excited.
Yeah.
Bless you. The Rock Quarry was originally conceived to be a pumpkin patch, so it's a good thing they kept it changed.
Oh, I would have liked either one.
Yeah, me too. But I wonder if that's not why all that pumpkin stuff is in there. Like
yeah,
why they're collecting
maybe.
the pumpkins for UNICEF and.
Oh fuck.
I wonder
they made all the pumpkins for the pumpkin patch, and Art was like, "Fuck you, use them."
Fuck you.
I would say that if I was an Art.
But dude, I can absolutely see that whole entire scene
like
take place in like a pumpkin patch with like a haystack maze or
I
something.
Can too.
Like I like shot for shot, I can see that whole movie.
But I feel like we definitely would have lost a lot of really special things.
Was it that shot I kept referencing 5 times in this fucking show?
Yeah.
Where those haystacks were?
Yeah. Thank you, Estonian. A bus sinking in a pumpkin patch? Like, how would they have explained that story? Come on,
they wrecked into a tree.
Don't be
I don't know.
ridiculous. No, I'm kidding.
That is a good point.
So yes, excellent point, Austonian. So
I wonder if it wasn't like something like they didn't have Brian Cox for that role, so it wasn't as big of a role. And then when they got Brian Cox for it, they were like, we have to expand on this role. We got Brian Cox. So then they took out the pumpkin patch, put the quarry in, and built the whole story about the kids.
Big story.
And that's why you have that moment when Sam turns around in the Brian Cox scene, and it looks like he's about to mutter trick or treat, and then they cut away, and then the vampire zombie kid says it to Brian Cox at the end of the movie instead.
Oh.
I wonder if that's not what happened there. I'm making all this up.
So
by the way. This
listen.
is
I thought
film
we established he
theory.
said trick or treat, motherfucker.
Stay tuned for Channel 29's next show, where we make up stories about what probably happened around the making of a movie.
That's right. Fake BTS.
That's gonna.
We pretend like we get first drafts of scripts.
We're in a workshop. But interesting. It's funny because I believe somebody brought up earlier. I believe it was us. Was it Estonian? Somebody was asking. I can't remember who it was. Somebody was asking about what did Sam have to do with the girls, and it's funny. He didn't appear in their part. Like he didn't. There was nobody to punish because they didn't go against any traditions or.
Well, there.
Nor were they doing. He's
there. He's in one shot. He's sitting on a bench as they get out of that scene.
Yes, but I mean, as far as like, there was nobody to punish in that scene.
The girls were doing that for him.
Sure. Isn't the shot going through the parade? Isn't that from his POV in the opening credits?
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Is it?
When they do that quick pan and like you see them, but you can't because they're blurry.
That's his candy sack.
Oh yes, the burlap first shot through the burlap.
Well,
but
like,
I mean,
there's the burlap like into the first segment where like she gets the.
But then the
lollipop.
But it's Sam's POV through.
Or is that the kid? Is that the kid from Bad Santa's sack that we see?
It's actually not the kid because we see him walking away at some point.
Man, I wish I would have watched this like
2 hours ago.
Recently.
Yeah.
Fuck, whose POV was that?
Anyway, Glenn's gonna go back and let us know on the Twitter, so make sure you're following us on the socials.
Yeah.
And put it in Discord too, Glenn. Enjoyability. We're really just holding out for these final scores here. 10. I gave it 10 out of fucking 10 because nothing upsets me about it. I really, really enjoy it. I think everything is done so well that I am pleased to watch it. Like I said, I've probably watched it a dozen times.
Yeah.
So 10 out of 10 brings me to an overall score. Are we doing overall scores after we do enjoyability?
No, fuck it. Let's do it now. Do it. You're already there. Let's go.
92.
Wow.
That's a high
92. That's a high score.
Yeah.
That is a super high score.
That's almost a full bucket. Glenn, what about you, man? How was your enjoyability for this film?
I go back and forth, like truly go back and forth with this. Mm-hmm. If this is my favorite and or / best anthology movie, horror movie.
Okay.
It's creep show hashtag.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Hashtags come at the end.
Yeah.
They do. Reverse hashtag on Twitter right now. Got it trending.
What's your enjoyability, Glenn?
No, I know. I mean, that's how it goes into it. I don't want to change this.
Do it. Listen to your heart, Glenn. Follow your
beliefs.
What
is it now?
No, because I do love this movie. It's technically proficient. It's technically better than Creepshow.
But?
And like, you're crazy if you're not comparing it to Creepshow, because like Creepshow was the gold standard for anthology movies, horror movies. Was it not?
I agree.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks, Austonian. It isn't as fun, which I think for me is why I love anthology movies. It's fun, don't get me wrong, it is. It's not as fun as Creepshow to me. And I will admit that's probably 100% nostalgia. Because there's, I should say, do Creepshow, I'm sure it will have a lower score.
Yeah.
for me.
Okay. Okay.
I gave it an
Glenn.
8. I gave it an 8.5.
My God.
Get out. You're fired.
Yeah, that's fine.
We all knew this day would come.
That's fine.
8.5. But that's a great explanation, Glenn, and I think you're probably right. Like,
I will watch Creepshow more than I will this, though I watch this a lot.
Really?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And what was your overall total, Glenn, at the end of the day? Here?
Oh, I didn't give that. I'm sorry. According to the calculator, an 87.
That's still very high.
I think it might be my highest. I don't know. I haven't looked back.
Really?
Yeah, we're gonna have to link all these spreadsheets to like a master spreadsheet that calculates the total score for every movie we watch, so we can refer to it.
But it can't have our notes because I can't spell for shit.
Nope, same here. I like Denise gave this movie a fucking 10. I love it. I'm not gonna go on and on about it because it's just going to be repeating what Glenn and Denise already said, like we said at the beginning. The movie is damn near perfect on every single level, and I love watching it. And the fact that it is a Halloween-centric film that we just watched at the end of May, 10 out of 10 enjoyability. Overall score, highest of the group with a 93. Just got you there, D. 93 for Trick or Treat. Barely. This movie is damn near perfect.
This is the movie that broke the mold because you were always the lowest, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, snap. That's true.
You know, it's hard because I don't want to, I don't want to be overly critical of these movies. But the reason that I am a bit more critical is because when I get to a movie like this, that's so hard to find fault in. Mm-hmm. I mean, what else are you supposed to do? Like, it's a damn near perfect movie in every way. I love it. I can't wait for the sequel. I really hope and pray that they don't fuck it up, that they give it the budget it needs,
Agreed.
That it gets the cast it needs, that they go on location, they give us that scope of the town again. Like, give us the same, put the same love and care that you put into this first one, please. You have the chance to turn this into a multi-million-dollar franchise. Do it right. You've got another shot. Fucking do it right.
And if they give you 8 times the budget, don't do the CGI. Just throw it all into explosions and like resurrect Stan Winston. Like
explosions are fairly cheap, actually.
Get George Romero's zombie corpse to fucking direct this thing. Whatever you got to do.
Like write a fucking full-on T-Rex script. So like Stan Winston, and you get his people to come in and like do like full-on like animatronic.
Oh, it's going to be great. I'm so excited. But man, what a night we've had. Denise, you have something else to add?
Well, I was just going to say, it's interesting because high scores or not, there's still plenty of movies that we will watch ad nauseum. This is just breaking it down because it's fun to talk about these things, and it's fun to get, I think, obviously not as a viewer because I'm not watching it, so I'm not speaking for y'all, but I know the whole thing was born of, it's interesting to see everybody else's perspective. And you're like, oh shit, I agree with that. I hadn't thought about that before. Or I completely disagree with that. And I think you're a moron. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? It's such a great, and that's what I love about this is it's even though we've got this rating system, it's a discussion. It's a discussion out of love for the genre.
Yeah.
And we thank you for coming along this ride with us. Oh,
yes. Goodness. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Super fun night. Just some quick announcements on the channel. We're going to be, tomorrow night, we'll be back. Davis Saunders and I will be back with This Show is Cursed. That's going to be tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. And then we are going to be on a bit of a break. We're going to be running a lot of marathons. Everything's great. Denise and I have a show to produce for our day job. And it's going to be really cool. Actually. Oh yeah, Glenn too. There. Like fuck, I forgot. Like so, Thanks. The three of us all work together. Sorry, Glenn. I was more thinking about the other 6 shows that Denise and I are on.
Yeah,
Wednesday and not this one. But yeah, Denise, Glenn, and I all work together, and we have a show to produce on June 1st. And check the socials for that because it'll be a really cool stream. I don't want to say anything else about it because I don't know what's public yet, but it's going to be really, really cool. And but but it
Maybe
is going to
we'll go
put
live
us
from Vegas.
Yeah, maybe we will. Maybe we'll do some just chattings with the three of us in Vegas.
That would be fun.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye on the socials, which are below, by the way, which you can check out. Denise, Glenn, actually, let me finish up, then we'll talk about ourselves. But
do it.
Yeah, so keep an eye on the socials, but we're pretty much going to be dark after tomorrow night. I may try to go up Tuesday night with a bonus round. I think I'm going to go up Tuesday night with a bonus round, unless I'm like too stressed out because we're traveling next day or whatever. But if not, we'll be back with a bonus round on June 2nd, probably. And then picking things back up as regularly scheduled. And that's about it. Denise, Glenn, tell us where the people on the internet can find you. I'm going to put it in chat right now, but go ahead. Tell us about y'all.
In typical Denise fashion, I have gotten my hair tangled in my headset because that's just how I roll. Shit like this
classic.
is no jam. You can find me at Denise Pantoja on the socials, on Twitch. Twitch has been a little light. I had family in town last week. Well, I mean, I have had family in town. So last week, I didn't go up, but I plan on going up tomorrow night with a little more Resident Devil. And then you can find me on TikTok at the Demogorgon. It's, all good and fun when life and work allow me to do it. So thank you so much for joining.
Cool. And Glenn, what about you, man?
You can find me on Twitter at the Odd Movie Master. I am still working on becoming better at that platform because I'm an idiot and didn't do that first. You can also find me on Instagram at Glenn with 2 N's because that's how it's spelled correctly, _Akers, Akers, and _ because there's more than one of me, apparently.
On the 1 N Glens.
Gotta get they're the worst. 2 N Glens for life. That's how we rep around here. And I'm TJ Rotell. You can find me at TJ Rotell wherever popular internets are sold. Thank you all again for being here. Stick around. We're gonna go raid our friend Roxy Surf Chick, who is over there raising money for St. Jude. Looks like they're doing some fundraising for St. Jude. So go check that out. She's a good time. Thanks for being here. We'll miss you guys over the next couple of weeks, or next week or so, next 10 days or so. But until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and stay spooky, y'all. And we'll see you next time.
Watch some scary shit.
Yeah, watch some scary shit. Tell us about it on the internet, because that's where scary shit lives. Good night.